Oh, let it go. Let it go. Lord, help me let it go. 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 Oh, Lord, help me let it go. Help me let it go. Yeah, let's get go. Yeah, let it go. Help me let it go. Master Jesus, let it go. Help me let it go. Go, 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 go. Oh, let it go. I'm tired, let it go. Give your heart to Jesus. Let it take control. Just sit and worship. I know it hurts you, and I know it's painful. No way to wait, so you have to let it go. Your best friend is not your secret index. Let it go. Your wife is getting married to another man. Your husband are falling in love with another woman. Don't let it bother you. I say let it go. If someone overlook you because you live in zero, if they insult you because you don't handle body, if they say you will continue to be a zogo, if they say you will continue to be a prostitute, if they say you will continue to be a beggar, you will not marry, you will not bear your own children. If they say your knee is borrow, Sunday go to meeting, mommy can say no, Johnny Ginger. Just let it go. Jesus will change your story. Let it go. 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 Lord, help me let it go. Help me let it go, man.
Yeah. Mighty blow. Holla, holla. Nobody do it like you do it, you a true God. Yes. You always hear me when I say my prayer with few words. But Genesis and they play in this new world. Read the power every day, now while I'm still a good boy. Jehovah bigger than your problem, so just let it go. Just keep on praying, he will make your blessing overflow. To be the best and more the rest, you gotta pray more. The God of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, the God of mighty blow. But there is power in your blood, I wanna give you praises. Yes. I gotta dance and David.
All right, good afternoon, good morning, good evening to wherever you are. I'm Alfonso Z and Salt of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR TV right here at New England Bureau. This beautiful, beautiful Friday evening here. This is Crossfire. Crossfire comes on every Saturday, but I will not be behind this microphone, and so I want to fill in that gap this afternoon. The Liberal Progressive is going to be here a little on this evening, so it is a double pack, right?
Take you for the rock and roll here.
Let it go, let it go, oh, let it go, let it go. Lord, help me, let it go.
Lord help us, let it go, let us go. We will go, but we have to talk about it. I want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe, wherever you are, this morning, this afternoon, right here in the USA. This is the Diaspora Informative News Outlet, where we keep news proportionate, fair, balanced, objective, but we do discuss on high call painful issue. And as such, we're going to hit one of those this afternoon right here. Welcome.
Let it go. I say you spirit of suppression. Let it go. Spirit of denial, spirit of depression. Let it go, man.
And welcome, the Diva is in the house. Welcome, good afternoon. I hope you are having a great and wonderful time here.
Let it go. Your best friend take your horse, man. Let it go. If your wife say we are not compatible, let it go.
This song is so powerful. It explains every aspect of our daily lives and things that are going on around, out, and in our society. Let it go.
And they kill your father. They kill your wife and make your children homeless.
I'm going to be engaging you here this afternoon in a critical conversation. And of course, our senior contributor and analyst, they will hopefully they will be joining us. Mr. Amos George is based in Atlanta, Georgia, is already here.
Papa, let it go. It is painful, let it go. You borrow someone your money. Oh, mama, they don't want to pay. You have become a boo-boo man. Your best friend is now your secret enemies. Your mother-in-law don't even want to see you. At your job side, they call you boo for nothing. I say in your family, they call you useless. But one day, Jesus will make you useful. So let it go, 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 go. For how long will you hold? How long will you hold? You've been holding on for too long now. You are holding on, you're making Jesus to run on. So let it go, it is painful, let it go. Oh yeah, mama, let it go. Let Jesus take. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Oh, let it go. Let it go. Lord, help me let it go. Help me let it go, man. Oh yes,
All right, that was a beautiful song there by our Liberian gospel artist. Is based in Liberia. Minister Jemima Walker, making a contribution right here this afternoon. I am Afonso Ziensot of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR TV. Do us a favor, just hit the share button and hopefully you can invite someone at your company. This is the informative news magazine Crossfire. Crossfire comes away every Saturday at 12 midday, but I get caught up with things, so we'll not be sitting here tomorrow. And I try to do this to fill in the gap. We're going to be having a conversation that could be unbearable. You may not want to listen to it, but we have to talk it. We have to discuss it. That is what all it is about. Talking about our country, the rest of the world. There are a lot of things happening across the globe, and we have to take a pick on it. What we will not do is to disproportionate news and information. We'll try to create a fair, balanced, objective talking point. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing here this afternoon in this edition of Crossfire. I am Afonso Ziensot of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR TV. We're going to get this program going as soon as possible. So just bear with me here. Let me throw this local out here. That's it right there to LPR, Liberia Public Radio. My guy is standing by, but as usual, we're going to take a rendezvous across the globe, the world, the country, and some of the news making headlines. Stay tuned. We will get this program on the way right here, right now. Okay, good afternoon, good morning, good evening to wherever you are. I'm Afonso Ziensot of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR TV. Let's do a quick rendezvous, some of the news making headlines across the globe in Liberia and other places. Haiti holds funeral for slain President Moise on tight security. As you remember, the president of Haiti was recently assassinated. Funeral is ongoing. France lower house approves separatist law. Tobato Islamic extremists. Yes, it's getting out of hand. The whole war is in a chaotic situation. Nowhere seems to be like a safe haven, we used to say. Under the new president of Tanzania, it gets ready to start a vaccine to roll out. That's a major policy shift since President Suman Suluhu Hassan replaced the former vice president. Now is the president of Tanzania, following the death of John Magufuli. At least a dozen civilians killed in Central African Republic. Attack, according to UN officials, according to France 24, about 18 civilians were killed in a clashes near the capital, north of Bangui. Liberia's burial tombs, ECLIPSES, Minister Mangiot, murdered funeral, opulence of burial. This is what is already now on the social media, and a lot is being discussed, but we want to take it in a different context and different form here for us to have a real-time conversation. What are we missing here? And what is really going on? What do we need to know to distinguish what being a public official and a private person or ordinary person? Does that matter? So the key question here is, where is the outrage? I want to encourage you. We're going to have that conversation. So I'm going to be bringing in Mr. Amos George as well. We saw Darrell's Dillon the other day in the first class. And he said that wasn't the case. He lied. But this one here is physical. To Mangill, he built what beat. Let me see here if I can get it all here for you to see. I don't want to talk in assumptions or something that you don't that is not visible. Let me put it out here. Hopefully you can see. He built it. I don't think it's that. What is important is the fundings. That's the most important thing here, and that's what we want to be talking about. Why you make of it. In fact, is that only Mangi have done that before? No, I don't think so. I myself remembered a couple of years ago, this is something that we built, but does that matter? See me sitting out there. Does that matter with an ordinary person? I don't think so. A lot is unfolding, a lot is ongoing, so we need to talk all of that as well. I'm Alfonso Zienso of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR TV. We're going to get this program. The program is here. I'm going to be bringing my man, Amos George here. Okay, let's get to the talking point right here before I bring in my guests. And you, our valuable listeners and viewers, we're going to open the telephone lines as well to engage you to have a conversation here. But let's go strictly to the talking point here and see if it makes sense or not. We are open to that conversation. All right. The Minister of State for Presidential Affairs, Republic of Liberia, Minister Nathaniel Falamangi, buried his mother yesterday. But it is not the loss of the passing of Madame Water that caught the headlines, but the displays of wealth that characterize the burial that is making and dominating the discussions in Liberian cycle and the social media. The country is going through a serious Delta virus surge, but public officials continue to demonstrate insensitivity to the flight of ordinary Liberians who wonders to find a daily bread for their families. Salaries are often delayed, and strike actions are now commonplace. Liberian Senate awarded themselves over $450,000 United States dollars. Maritime Commissioner Elaine Eugene Nambi circulated a picture of him having what appears to be an expensive lunch, and an assistant minister in the office of the President of the Republic of Liberia, that's Assistant Minister for Presidential Affairs, bought an expensive SUV and play it on the social media, washing it with champagne, apparently in celebrations of his wife, which is awesome. Opposition Senator Darius DeLonge denied Ryan a first class before conceding that he lied about it, even though the senator got the trip at his personal expense. DeLonge's mishap drew harsh criticism from the stations and platform. Some CDC members call for DeLonge's resignation, and the Assistant Secretary General of the National Patriotic Party that supports President George Weah of the ruling establishment CDC. One thing that concerns many is that Mr. McGee usually serves as the acting president. Let me go back. One thing that concerns many is that Mr. McGee, who happens to be the Minister of State for Presidential Affairs, principal deputy to the president, most time when the president leaves the country, more concerning President Weah and his cabinet, refuse to publicly declare their assets to this point. So the displays of wealth by public officials at the time is increasingly raising concerns. Panelists, and to you, our viewers and listeners, where is the outrage against Mr. McGee? Let's play this video. I'm going to be bringing in Amos George, and we're going to open the phone lines as well. And we have an opportunity to watch the video, and I will take it up from there. And so further down here, each of you will have the opportunity to answer the questions. Where is the outrage from CDC, from opposition, from the public? Is the change that CDC promise? Okay. The terms of Salive and Taylor, we don't know the difference, what is going on here. Let's play this here, and I'm going to be bringing in Amos George.
Okay, Chief, this is the fence.
Don't just bring in my voice, maybe you can watch it alone.
This is the yard. You see the yard, they're planting the grass now. This is the grass, they're planting the grass. Let me enter the grass. This is the what coming for the woman, how they got it. They had to bring the car. So you get here. There is one of the two. We got one here. Another two here. You got it over there. This is the place side. This is the place. You see the ceiling. This is the ceiling. This is inside. This is the place. This is the place. Yeah, look there. This is it. And the hot inside look there. Inside the place. That's what it is. This is it. Open the place. These are all the windows. Everything. This is it. You see the places will be where the Oman pictures will be. The picture. You see, there's 5 different places for the pictures. So this is it. See the men's dressing, the dressing, the table, everything now. This is the kind of texture of the table. See how they're light in there low. Okay. So we okay right here. See? There it is. Water. They're doing a grass. See how they're putting a grass? Huh? There's a fence, and you see the one room behind there. Behind there is the one room for the person to live in. This is it.
Okay, this is it. With me is LPRL senior analyst and contributor of the Liberia Public Radio, Mr. Amos George is here with me. And of course, all of you guys following us, you're going to be part of this conversation. So, Mr. George, good afternoon, good Friday. How are you?
Thank you. How are you doing, Mr. Su, and to our valuable listeners?
Okay. Here we are. Today is Friday. The media loves to dive into something. Other people say it. First of all, our prayers and thought goes out. 2015, my dad passed. And let me just make that declaration. But who cares? It doesn't really matter to the family. And there's a difference of being a private citizen and being the public officials. When you are a public officials, more or less, you have been put on the microscope because anything that happened. So I just want to be fair here into this conversation, and then they can talk it because there are other people that knows about it. This is this one year. It will not make it as far been compared. This is my late father, Tom. After he passed 2015, you see me there. I sitting over here, build a palava hut to give him a peaceful rest. Whatever it is. Okay. And so, but this is what we have right now in Liberia. Front page also at a piece of Apostle Opulence of Bearer. Amid recent wave of show off on the social media by several officials of government, the cascade and bearer tone of many of the Minister of State's mothers raise eyebrows on what some term as wasteful spending and loss of rate among public officials. So the good thing here is, who want to talk about me? If you even did that, Papa George, who want to talk about you? Nobody going to say anything. Nobody going to talk about that, because you are nobody. But on the other side of the coin, people have the right to celebrate their deceased, especially be it the mother, the father, or someone that is immediate. But the little difference here is when you become more or less a public official, there's some standard is being held. People question judgment. It's like you're like a president. Places that you used to go, you can't easily go to those places. You have to get security advices. You have to get consent. What is even go to your movement, your activities, more or less, they are more or less restricted because of your status in society. So politicians, it's not only in Liberia, right? Politicians are noted of different behaviors. They lie, they are not honest. The same thing we just a couple of days ago we were talking about this here, right? As well. And this is the guy, even though he bought his own ticket, he have no reason, no cause to lie. We are not going to question where he got his money. He's working. But the judgment, there were other security forces. They were there who are paying those people, and the timing. Now it has taken the distraction that is all over the place. So let's just bring you in this here, seeing what you are saying or what you saw on the social media. Where is the outrage?
Let me say this first. To the family of the late Margaret mother, I say Masiba to do them. But here is the thing, and I've been browsing social media today, and I see different account of what is happening. Some people in defense, some people not in the defense of this, the burial or whole thing. The mausoleum that was built by McGill. I saw one of his strong supporters saying that this man has friends. Good. But as a government official, it is clear the Liberian Constitution says, I think government officials are not supposed to receive $250, more than $250 gift. And anything more than that should be reported. So, if at all, Minister Mangel did not pay for this elaborate burial, who paid for it? is the question that I want somebody supporter to answer. He is the Minister of State for Presidential Affairs. He sees the president before the president goes to bed. He's a gateway to the president. Looking at our society, Liberia, Africa as a whole, everybody won't be close to individual who has the president ear. So if these people giving gift, what is the interest of them giving huge sum of gift, donating to the president mother's burial? This is what the public now come in to question. Where is this money coming from? Is this his own money? If it is his own money, fine. But then we got something to call perception. Determine, are you looking around you? What you're doing? Where the country is today? Is this would be the right thing to do at this time? When people are starving, disease is on the rampage in Liberia. And people, the perception of Liberians now that every government official are criminals. I mean, that's it, Mr. So. That's the perception of Liberians now, that every government official are criminals. So even if you have your own money to do something like this, you have to be very careful, because the public perception is not in your favor. It's not in your favor. I don't care how much defense you come to put up. It's not in your favor. That's why I said the uptake. Now, I heard person, oh, the minister of war, he makes money. Fine. But is it the right thing to do at this time to give your mother that kind of elaborate funeral? You are not taking, I said today, you are not taking the sympathy of that woman. You are turning it into a drama. Right now, I can tell you, if a mother was to talk, I don't think that my mother would be all right, would be in peace now. Because the amount of publicity that you are giving to this woman burial, sending her home, we should have been very peaceful. But look at the outrage from people about this woman burial. How do you reconcile that? You can tell your friends, yes, I gave my mother an elaborate funeral. She did everything she could do for me. She got me where I am. But look at the outrage of the people. Look at the outrage. And let me say this. Those who know Tottenham grade, can you compare this to Tottenham grade? Just the design of it, I'm not talking about the material, but the design of it, can you compare that to Tottenham grade? Who else in Morovia? In recent modern time, you can compare this kind of funeral to, I mean, to be built like this. There is something wrong with us. And this is where we find ourselves. People are justifying it. And I have said it. I'm not saying Minister McGill doesn't have the money, or he don't have the money, or he has friends. But the conflict is that even if your friend gave you this, your position in government, are you going to disclose all those people who gave you this money? Because tomorrow they want to know how these people, some people will be getting contracts, how some people will be doing business with government. So if the minister or those who support him want to be transparent, then let them make a full list of those who contributed towards this burial. So tomorrow, the Liberian people can be looking at how these people get contracts and do business in Liberia. This is where the disconnect comes in. And those who are outraged, they have legitimate reasons. Because this week, last week, it had just been the same thing. 2 weeks ago, we saw a young minister displacing wealth by simply buying a car for her wife, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. But when you go into the public space to waste a bottle of champagne on that vehicle, looking at the country again, I come back to this word perception. People are suffering. When you do that, it creates a different image of the government that you people said represent the poor people. You see, at the red market, the water that the people just move, look at that water at that place the people selling. And you are displacing that kind of worth. What does speak of the government that you people say were coming to represent the masses? These are the things. We frown on Senator Dillon. Yes, he took his own money from buying ticket. He took his own money, bought ticket, which was his right. But the moment he denied it, then when after he would say, hey, you are being deceptive. So how do you want us to trust you? You use your own money. You should have just come and say, hey, I upgraded my ticket, and that would have been done. But you deny, we have to go after it before you come back. He came back to submit himself and start asking for forgiveness. So this is the same thing is happening in this case. Mr. Monkey, I fully understand, I sympathize with your mother died. Everybody want to do anything, the best of sending the mother already home. But here is the fact. Look at the country today. What were your words said 3 years ago?
So let me stop you here. Look at the country today here. Let's have a little conversation here. Look at the country today. What should we be looking at? And we should take into consideration for the minister, to give the mother maybe the burial, he or the family to decide.
Oh, Mr. So, Minister Michael, rather his mother, a tomb, bury her, fine, whatever. But you have to look at the country today. As I stated, and the perception of 99.9% of Liberians believe that government officials are corrupt in Liberia. What that have been proven, I don't know. But
do they have reason to believe that?
They have reason. And here's the thing. I will say this. Social status. Make people to believe who you are. I'm being one bedroom apartment. All throughout my life, I've been struggling. I gotta go out there, get my one cup of red, come back in the evening and eat. Okay, nobody's taking account of what I'm doing. They look at me, oh, don't mind God. He's struggling himself, man. But then I get a government job. I got a car. I make decisions, and people come to me to make decisions. Within a space of 6 months, 1 year, I acquire a whole lot of worth. And I'm not explaining to the people how am I acquiring these worth. Nobody's know about the idea. I'm in government now. I'm acquiring this, and they know my salary. Now, my salary, they were trying to put something together. He pay rent. He got people to feed. He got extra family to take care. How much will he be left with to make this kind of development within a short space of time? Once those things are not explained, then people start raising the question: how am I living and acquiring all the work within this short space of time? And if there's not transparency, because if you are going, you told the people what you have, people will be able to make a decision as to what you are acquiring now because they knew what you have when you're going to that position. But none of these things were done.
Doesn't matter, George, for us to dive in. I don't know. I've talked to a lot of people who are involved in this here. It doesn't matter for us to focus how much was spent, because when you listen to other quarters, people who support the government, people in the opposition, of course, people are going to get a bite of this because if it's kind of like fall below the belt. Should we focus what it is, the cost of it? That I know is not over 60,000 or 50 to within a year. But what will you say to those who are arguing how much is they make in 4 days? Is that a point we are looking at here or what?
It's not about affordability, Mr. So. It's about the public, the uptake. Mr. So, you can afford to buy $50,000 car, but something will tell you where I'm living. If I bought this car, people will look at me to be different. They will raise eyebrow. What is my legitimate money? They will raise eyebrow. And this is what is happening today. The country, I heard people putting out 50,000. Okay, 50,000. So the minister of work, I don't know how many ministers make, maybe 10,000 a year. I don't know. I'm just assuming. So if you make that, fine. But
okay, We are about to have this conversation balance. A strong supporter of the ruling establishment in Liberia is based in Asia, but he's going to be joining us here to counterbalance this conversation here. George Widow supports the CDC-led government, and he's been very much vehement. So let me just bring in here. Mr. Widow is here. He's a senior contributor and analyst of the Liberia Public Radio. We are opening another pie here from one thing to another. The last time around, Darius Dillon put his foot in his mouth, and we beat on him. They letting Eugene Nangbe came with his fat bowl displaying why other people are hungry. But these are the things that people like to talk about here. So, Mr. Woodard, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. So. Good morning, Mr. George. And I'm happy to be here. And it's about 5 a.m. here. And I just woke up to this broadcast, and I was like, I gotta come on, you know.
I gotta go because what is happening? There's someone, the guy from the far right from Atlanta, Georgia, he's here slamming, slashing, and gashing. So now I think the house is somehow balanced. I'm not sure whether Professor Zablo going to be here, but let's get the ball rolling. So, Papa George, go ahead.
Yes. So this is the problem. When people do these things, look around you. The environment, what are the people seeing about us on the street? So I'm saying, and let me be clear, Minister Mackey, he's been working in government for almost 4 years. He might have the money to do anything. But the uptake, there is it right for him to do this kind of thing at this time? Some people are putting out 50,000, 60,000. Some people are saying, oh, he has friends. Granted. But is it the right thing to do at this time in the face of abject poverty? And moreover, we did preach against elaborate waste of government corruption.
Okay,
Now, these are the things that we're preaching against. People were riding fabulous cars. People are taking lump sum salaries. So if you were preaching against these things, now what you're doing? What's the difference between what you were preaching at the time and now? Eugene Nangbe, seeing that, hey, I help the government, I'm writing 60,000 outcome, but these were the same people, CDC, frowning on Ellen Johnson for people using lump sum of money to buy good cars. Eugene Nangbe is telling you he riding 6,000 cars. He's telling you other government officials are riding car worth $89,000. So what is the difference that you are preaching at the time you are not in the position? And let me just close on the note. It just reminded me the other day, I was following the news in South Africa. I think Steve Bigotumbo, one of the brothers, came out to say, the same thing we spoke against apartheid, that the apartheid government regime was accumulating wealth, ill-treating our people, black people. He said today, black people are turning out more richer, and they are doing the same thing that we were accusing the apartheid government of doing. He said today they are doing more than what we were accusing the apartheid government is doing.
Okay. So meaning
George got them preaching again, and today they are doing more than what Ellen was doing.
Okay, more than what Ellen was doing. The victim has become the victor, and the victor has become the victim. Okay, let us carry your own baby here. For me, I'm nobody. Nobody going to talk about it. What are they? But Widow, let's see here. Let's put it into context here, and then you can set the contrast for me here. This is me. Which years ago? 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago, that was 2015 when I went to lay my father to rest. You have me sitting down here. Yeah, here. It went on all social media. Nobody talks about it. So why should we be talking about this? Why should it be a major headline about this? What happened?
Oh, Mr. So, thank you. And I just want to start by also extending my condolences to the bereaved family, Mr. McGill and his entire family. And I really hope that
if you can be a little bit audible here, let's see. You a guy who can talk, so this person to talk on your
phone. Look, let me say, look, I don't know whether you heard me so clearly, but I just want to also extend my condolences to the bereaved family. And I hope that the soul of Man Wata rest in peace.
Right.
And but however, I'm going to say this, and I know I'm going to get in the fire, but I'm going to say this. I think I can compare this. And before I say that, even let's understand that Mr. McGill worked in Ellen government. He worked as I think assistant minister or so.
Minister, I think transport.
Yeah, he worked. Yeah, he worked in Ellen government, and he became the second president in Liberia under this government. And let's face the fact, he has money. And look, anybody who thinks that everyone should, even after having a job, you should still live the way you live, I think those people are, they are not they are not realistic. Things will change. People life standard will change. But yeah, let's face the fact, I think this is compared to President Weah building those condominiums. And I think even if it's his money and it is not timely, I think the optics are not good. But here we are again. I think you must
Why should we
appreciate the
always?
guts he has to
Why
say
should
to
we
hell with
always?
what anyone would say. Well, I'm going to do this for my mother. She brought me to this world, and once I can afford, if I can build in a sky for her, I would do it. You should appreciate his courage for doing what he did. But I think it's untimely. I think it speaks to the fact that people will want to believe that the insensitivity of this government is becoming something that is
Do you share those? Do you share those
is
views?
getting
The
yeah,
insensitivity
it's getting
aspect.
higher.
Widow,
I
widow.
do not share that view. I do not share that view that this government is insensitive. I think the government is very sensitive to the plight of the Liberian people. As you can see, people are leaving mud houses to brick houses. That has never happened in Liberia. I think the government knows and understands that people's lives have to change, to
But you just
compensate for
argue.
what they did.
You just argue out here that people are saying, or people are believe that this government is insensitivity to the plight of the Liberian people, and I
Yes.
seem a little bit struggling out there. Do they have reason to believe that?
Look, Mr. So, I listened to the ambassador, the United States ambassador to Liberia. He said he's going to Liberia to deal with the perception of corruption, not corruption itself. For the fact that Mr. George said it here, now people perceive, even you, Mr. So, if you're appointed now in government, you are a thief right away. Nobody's going to investigate you. You're not going to go to court, but you are condemned to be a rogue. And that's what it is. People will say those things, even though they know that. Let's face the fact, Mr. So, that in Liberia, we don't have private sector. So there's no job in the private sector that can make anyone rich, right? So the only job that is in Liberia is government job. So once you get a job, your life has to change. But when your life change, people say your life should not change, even though you got a job to do and you are making money. You should still live the same way you used to live. I think that is unrealistic. However, looking at the average person living standard in Liberia, I think building this place for your mother and knowing that others are suffering. Look, let's take it for instance. In Nigeria, a guy did the same thing. He does not work for government. He had an elaborate program for his mother's funeral, and people criticize him. Say, look, people are suffering. So what more than somebody who works in government, who works in a country where people survive on $1 a day to build this place for their deceased? I said it. I must commend his courage, to say to hell with anybody who feels bad about me. I have this money and I'm going to give my mother a befitting burial or funeral. I think it's very commendable, but the optics are not good. And I must continue to say that. So people perceive people who work in government, even if you can be a pastor like Pastor Bishop Clay, who worked at the airport, the RIA.
Let me allow you to take
People
water here.
consider him to be a rogue.
I know you support this government, but I think that you find it very difficult to find your normal voice, your usual voice that I know as the widow here. It's hard to defend the indefensible here. That was the, and like I said, we are not looking at it. I'm not questioning the ability as to whether he gets the money, whether he has the money. Not so much of aid, but why, like you said, why at this stand? And you are a government official, not just only government official, you're one of those who proxy the affairs of the country when the president of the Republic of Liberia travels. You're working consonant with the vice president of the Republic of Liberia.
Yeah.
So that itself is an eye-catching situation. You act as a president. You are the principal deputy to the president.
Yeah. When the president is away, you are the president.
I will say why. Yeah, people working at the National Transit Authority, the vehicles, the trucks, the buses are not packed. They are not broken down. They have all of their 12 tires or 10 or whatever the number, accurate number would be. They are moving. People waking up. I saw the footage where one of the drivers, I believe, one of the drivers, I said she woke up almost, I think 4 or 5, and you could see the gouge in your head, bled and stuff like that, got wounded, and those people are not taking pay. Yet you have a manager there. Senator here. I come in. There seems to be a pattern within the government selecting here. We have recently a certain senator who lied, which he had no reason of lying. It was his own money. Anybody can upgrade. I have done that several times. Other people have done that, which of course, from Ghana to USA, that's an 11-hour flight on Delta, because I've used that before. And when you go in the first class, believe me or not, you drink your wine, you drink whatever you. In fact, the seat rolls you like you're in your bed, which is okay. He had no business of lying. He lied and he was defending it to the teeth. We saw the what his name said, the commerce man the other day eating, which is okay. But sometimes you have to be sensitive. Your surrounding, what is happening with other people, not just all about you. Do you think this was the consent of the president, Widow? Before I go to George.
Look, Mr. So, you're right, and no, the president does not condone any display of wealth that will bring condemnation to this government.
You think we're going to be the action of the president? Yeah, we're talking about is the maritime, the NPA issue here, and you saw the tape here because I interviewed. You listened to that? I interviewed the managing director of Harper Port, who admitted here that people were using that 2 years. So everybody were complacent because nothing going to happen. We have not even found a solution. So the country is bleeding. And here we are. Why should people create this sort of a talking point? Pa George.
Yeah, let me say to Mr. Widow, let me just clarify a statement you made. You say this is the first time people leave from mat to move into break horses. But Mr. Widow, maybe I'm much older than you. So, but let's look at the history. Do you know someone called Cabral Estate? Stephen Tower?
Yes, I do.
New Jersey? So why were you coming to say that this is the first time that ever happened? He said, look, you can support your government. First, let's put it where it belongs. William our Tower started the estate business in Liberia. Again, the Cabral Estate, which is on the old road.
Cabral.
Stephen Tower Estate, New Jersey, Barnesville. Then he started talking in Matadi, New and Old Matadi. Tobo started that with cooking. So why would you make such a statement that this is the first time that people are moving in horses in Liberia by government? Why would you make such a statement? But let me tell you, let me say this. Supporting someone, you do not create a situation like that other government have not done nothing. These two governments are named to you. Those are something concrete. You can see it's standing there. So I don't know where you came from with that statement. But let me move on to the next thing. I said from the beginning, Mr. Manke could do anything that he wanted to do to give him a befitting funeral. But I said the uptake, the perception in Liberia, was it the right time to do the thing? Some supporters say, oh, he got his friends. They went to name Lebanese people, Indian people. Then I came back. What the law said about gift, government official receiving it should not be more than $250. Anything more than that should be reported. So all those people who gave Mr. Mange more than $250, is he going to report to the public? This is where the people, they have developed the perception of government official being corrupt in Liberia, because the government officials are not being transparent. So this is where this perception comes from, and the attitude displaced by them. If you widow went and bought a car for your wife, you gave the car to your wife, they not displace it. People will say, oh, we don't bought a car for her, yeah, the car that she bought, fine. But when you go into the public domain, where's a champion on it, and you looking on the motion of change as proper, what that say about you, and what you think the people are going to think about you people? This is where this perception they are worsening in Liberia, especially with CDC, because they were the one who were preaching this against the alien government, that they were insensitive to the plight of the poor people. President Wilkin, he got a jet plane today, nobody know where the jet came from. For the non-condominium, they cannot explain it. Now history home was demolished. No explanation. And if you are public figures, people take account of these things, and that how the perception of people develop against government officials. And I said,
so let me bring in Widow here. You know, we tend to have a conversation. These are our leaders. They are accountable to us. What are we against? It's not an issue of being against. And this is why we don't demean people here. We want to have an honest and very genuine conversation here. The opposition, the government, I've said that over and over, all of them the same people. There's no one. You put them here, they're going to even do the worse than what we are talking about here. But let me just see what I can apply this here to you. Do you think that was a sagacious decision? Do you think that was the best way to memorialize his mother as a public official? I don't know specifically that led to the demise of her, but don't you think there are other ways? For example, maybe you found a foundation, you go to the JFK. If there was anything that shot for the, get the mom to pass, which of course is not a good thing. Everybody wants their mother, their father to be around. Do you think that was something, or to launch a major foundation, for example, if there was any particular illness that to be for, like in the case of my little niece, the past, if I had enough money, or I'm thinking I'll be making a donation to St. Jude because they are there to fight cancers for little children. Do you think he could or probably could have done it differently to avoid it? Because it took away completely in celebrating the legacy or to whatever that she has done. So maybe there are some specific things that she did in her life that could be remembered. I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe there's a foundation in the making, but even if a foundation comes out now, if a foundation is launched based on what we are, the thing that came ahead of the foundation, don't you think you're going to take away the conversations or the purpose for which you're going to be doing that?
Well, Mr. So, thank you. And I think there are so many ways to memorize anyone. But now we're talking this because the minister has chosen this route, and I think that's what we should.
Is that a good route?
Yeah.
You could have done
look,
that.
I do not suggest to people how they should feel or what they should do for the dead people. But what I will say,
when you do that,
look, my mother is still alive. She's in Monrovia, and I wish I had the money the day she passes. If I can build her grave in the sky, I would do that. That lady suffered so much for me. I remember when there's no food, she fall sick. And now that I'm old, I realize what she went through to take care of all, I think 12 of us. Father never used to be home regularly. And I would do anything, anything, absolutely anything,
Mr. Widow,
to make sure that she lives on. But look, I'm saying this, but I'm saying also, as a government official, the optics are not good. And I said this from the beginning. I said, look, people will say these things because of the position the minister holds. is a public official.
Let me ask you this here. Let me ask you here. Let me ask you for, is that yes to my question that I asked you previously?
Your question, I answer your question the best way I thought possible.
This is the problem here. You people that support the government, you people, the same thing the government, GOL is doing, that's the same thing the opposition. Everybody take the defiant and defensive position if one of their own does wrong to come
Mr.
out.
So, I stood here and I condemned it. I stood here, I sat here and I condemned it. I said the optics are not good.
But you still try to polish it. You still try to give justification. You are telling me now, if that was the case, you will also build something in the sky. So you try to you've been a little bit unbalanced yet, and I don't see it. You're not willing to call out one of your own that's made a poor administrative judgment. You know.
So I did this, and by saying that the minister, what he did was not timely. Looking at the average citizen in the country, how people are living, I think this was not timely. This is not going to help our case coming 2023. I must tell you, people will think that we are extravagant, and we shouldn't be living like that.
You're living extravagant your life, not the thing. You two are living extravagant your life, not the thing. We don't.
So, that's what people think. That's what people think.
What I'm hearing from you now, it will get a long-term political implication. Is that what you're saying?
It brings display.
Oh yes, definitely. Look, I always say this, and we got to be fair to ourselves. I know that there is a long-term political ramification because of these sort of things. And look, that's what I say. You must commend the courage of the minister to say to hell with political party, to hell with whoever thinks this is stolen money, or to hell with whoever think they are hungry. This is my mother. I will do for her what I want to do. I say you must commend his courage, and I understand. However, there will be consequences. Every action. Let me say it just like this. Every action there will be consequences, whether good or bad. Those consequences will come. But let me address Mr. George comment earlier. He talked about Stephen Tower Estate. He talks about these people. Look, I was a little kid, or maybe never even born when those places were built. But here's what I understood from my people. They said those people who occupied those places were not common Liberian people. Now you have common people living there. Before it used to be many.
You're drawing a demarcation.
Now this government is building who did not even have the money to build, who don't even have the money to rent the places. I remember the president took an old man, even though he had passed now, may his soul rest in peace, took an old man from his mad little domicile to take him to a concrete structure and gave him a better life, even for the 5 months he lived after that. I think it's commendable. I'm not saying that nobody ever built anything in Liberia, but I'm saying that this government is doing extremely well, very sensitive to the Liberian people. And nobody should think that with this that are happening, the government is insensitive. I think that is a very lousy statement.
Okay, wait, let me tell you something.
Yes.
You say you were not born when Stephen Tower and those were built. But those who are not built for what you're thinking about, that was built for assistant ministers and things. That was Tower program to lift people out of poverty. Some of the people were secretaries. I knew some of the people. Some of the women out there, they were secretaries.
In Monrovia, right?
Hold on there. That was the beginning of the first housing project in Liberia. And Monrovia being the seat of county, that's where that program started. But don't you say that? You didn't say that. You said it. You said they were the first time it happened. Go back and play the video. You see it. That's your statement.
And that's what I say. I still stand by what I said. No, I still stand by what I said.
No. It was not the first time. So you added.
Okay.
It was not the first time.
All right. I accept.
Okay. So
I accept.
Do you know that Husband had a local housing project, West Point? Do you know that?
No,
okay,
not at all.
I will tell you.
So let me ask you. Yeah, let me ask you this here, and it's fair to say that the minister he been working from the Helen Johnson Sirleaf government to this one. Let me ask you, you as a supporter, or you as a seditian, has the minister declared his asset? Do you know?
Yes, he has. He has declared his asset. He did not declare his asset the Dillon way, but he declared asset legally.
Which way?
And the Dillon way. The long way is carrying your $3.50 bank statement.
No, that one
And,
that was so ridiculous on the part of the. I can't. You see, the same way you guys, the same way the citizens are so defensive of their people. That's how the opposition. So that's what get us. They are not doing anything. They also strongly believe that the loan came with $3.50. Now the guy who came with $3.50 now.
Exactly.
30,000 K. So all of you in that basket of this deplorable. By the time he answers, think about how do you know how many guys making? Per George, where's the IFQ? Because they don't even tell people the senators
4,000 something around that area. I don't know.
Okay. 4,000 something.
Yeah. But
I'm coming, I'm just trying to say from $3.50 to see how the country is so bad. If I had to lead any protest, it would be one of the protests to cut down the term, to go back to that constitution, call for referendum to reduce the term of this with the president and the lawmakers. From $3.50 to 9 years. Every year is what? 12. So 12 times 9 to that amount. So just think about it. How much these people are going to be making?
Yeah. And let me say this again. Yesterday, the police director came up. Said all funeral homes now maximum will hold only 20%. You saw the picture from that funeral home. This is why the public get mad with government officials, whether we are past government. This is where the public develop the perception anger against government officials. Just yesterday, the police director came on. Said any funeral in Liberia, maximum 20% at the funeral home. And they are going to close down funeral home if anybody violent, and they have closed down some funeral homes. Now you see, this is where the danger comes in. It's private civil now going to close that funeral home or wherever that reception or funeral service was heard. Is he going to close it down? You see, this is the thing that people do. These people get angry. Minister Mangere, look, I said it. I don't know why Minister Mangere had to choose. He chose to go down the road today. Because his mother now, I just have to say it. This woman should be resting in peace. But look at the focus that he had created for this poor woman. We now have to talk about her. It's just saddening for us, for he to have done that. Now, if you're saying the law, nobody is above the law, neither the president of the Republic of Nigeria. Everybody, the Constitution is above everybody. Police director has spoken. No more than 20%. I was sitting there. I had a very personal family friend that died. People left from there. I even told me so. I was about to go to that funeral to Monrovia. I had to cancel my trip because they said only 20% were allowed in the funeral home. And you see government officials having this kind of funeral with more than 50 people in the hall. What that speaks about how power is being used against the very poor people that the kingdom represent. These are the issues that some of us are talking about. If there's a law, there should be no exception to that rule. But in Liberia, there's always exception to rules when it comes to anything that's happening. The poor people got different set of rules. Those who got friends in government has different set of rules. Those who in government has different set of rules. And this is why we see being displaced in Liberia.
And Mr. George, and you're right. And I'm totally with you on this one. I think that was a great error of judgment. I think what was displayed there was flaunting the entire health protocols. I think it was not good, and it does not send a good signal, to the public and people who dearly support this government. I think people acted without care, for the ordinary people.
Well, let me ask you.
It's a minister.
Yes,
do you sometimes feel embarrassed to defend the party, the government? The government is all of us government, but being a sympathizer, being a supporter, to defend the government position, be a government opposition, especially the government going to be on edge with a lot of things. Do you sometimes feel embarrassed defending?
Oh yes, I do. I do feel embarrassed sometimes, and sometimes
meaning
I feel that
meaning they are doing wrong things.
Yes, definitely. And look, I've always said this thing. Look, no matter who is the president of the Republic of Liberia, people will make errors. People who make those errors must own up to them. And look, even if you make Jesus or Barack Obama making president of the Republic of Liberia, he will be managing Liberians in every ministry. There will be Liberians there. People will make errors. However, people should own up to them, and there should be consequences for errors made. However, here is the thing: if I, George, is working in the Liberian government and I display wealth of unimaginable magnitude, and there is a concern that that wealth is not legally gotten, I think the president or the government should investigate, and that's what it is. Look, if I got the money, if I use part of my salary,
as a physician now, I know you're not speaking for the government. Are you calling for investigations, or will you call for public declaration? The declaration, like in the case of Ellen Johnson. Now this has become another talking point, which other folks and other people are going to be arguing. These people did not make a real public declaration. They just give the intent, or they just throw something out there with a lot of doubts, nothing specific. So with this one here now, will you get the courage to say, okay, you know what, enough is enough? These guys need to make a public declaration to declare everything. We need to know all. Is that something as a Liberian? Is that something you want to call for, especially used to
Mr. So, I have been very radical, and I got a radical set of mind. Yes, what yes, I have, and I am, and it depends on how you define the word radical,
Okay.
And here's what I always thought. If I become a decision maker in Liberia, the first thing I'm going to do is to dissolve the entire parliament. That legislature serves no purpose, shouldn't be there in the first place, looking at what we are going through. I think that place should be dissolved. I think all the political parties come together and elect somebody to leave for 6 years, and then come together again, elect for somebody to leave. If that happens, you will find out that Liberia will go straight. So I think the legislature serves nothing. It should be dissolved because it's just people there sitting, eating money, and living, luxurious life. And here's what I'm going to say to this incident. I don't know what I should call for investigations into the flamboyant, funeral. I think people should be held responsible for flaunting the health protocols.
Wait a minute. Who are the people who should be held responsible?
Oh, look, Mr. So, look, let me tell you, there are so many things that happen in that place. The first thing, the funeral parlor knows exactly how many people are allowed to go there.
Whoa. Come on.
No. Let's face the fact. Let's face the fact, Mr. So. Let's face the fact. Because I don't want us to just put the blame solely on one person. There are so many people to share the blame here. Okay, let's do it this way.
I did not call anybody, and you say people must be held responsible. My question
is, people. So let's say, for instance, if I come to your premises and the government is saying only one person should come at a time, and I come there, you can tell me, say, no, you cannot come in. You are not allowed to come in because this is the law. This is the rule.
Interestingly, on the flip side, the government that makes the law say only 20%. The government this time around went there and carried over maybe, I don't know.
That's not the government that went there. One person is not the government, and that's the thing Liberian people get, mixed.
Okay, fair.
The government is an institution. One person coming to you, even if the person is the president, they are not above the government. And I think people should learn to know these things. And when people know these things, Liberia will go better. Because one person coming to you and saying, do this, even the president comes to you and says, no, Mr. President, we are told that only 20% can come in. So if you allow that to happen, that means if the president insists and says, I must go in, then say, okay. Then you allow them to go in. So if investigation has been done to establish whether the funeral parlors or the funeral home when they allow these people to go in and what happened, then they should also face some form of punishment. And those who even went in must face the law. And I think that's what it should be. The fine should be levied to everybody who the laws.
Let me help.
No, but it's not himself. Let me tell you.
No, he said those that went in They were penalized, they must be fined. So I say including the minister and any other government officials.
Yes, yes.
We
If we don't set example, where do we set the example? What do we do?
Okay. Let me say this to you. When my friend died, the funeral had police people there already. They had police people there.
Yeah.
Now, you've seen that normally the person will not just go somewhere in person. That's why they got a chief of protocol, the special aid. They will go there and say, hey, this is what the person coming person have to do this also. That's it. So the person will not just normally just go there like that. Except maybe even on a tour, they have to send people there to make sure everything is said and who he's supposed to be meeting with. So here's the thing here. Everybody know that the body in question was that of the Minister of State for President Affairs. And the funeral home they dealing with is where I think government carry the contract, wherever. So are you telling me the funeral home should have sent someone to the Minister of State or tell the people, say, hey, nobody entered the funeral home. This is the order. One hand, you're right. But the minister, you don't think the minister should have even known better in the first place? Because he is the guy in the executive, taken by the president. He know better. His police director had just made an announcement the day before that, hey, this is the law. And we are closing businesses, we are closing funeral homes down. Nobody should make an attempt. But the thing in Liberia and other parts of Africa, this is how it has always been. That when there is a minister, a government official, they are above the law. Nobody should question them.
And Mr. George, and you're right. But that is one that we have to change. We have to change that. That is what needs to change.
So here's the thing here. Once you are a government official in Liberia, nobody can tell you, say, don't enter this place. Your security can push the people and go. You don't know the minister. You don't know the director. So this is and secondly, who was paying for the security at that grave site? This is misuse of government or power.
Okay, let's not be judgmental yet. You think, yeah, so security, EPS, or whatever PS people are there. Who do you think are paying it?
Because the police is not there to protect Minister Mange's mother. Again, this is why I just hate to say this thing here. Was not a government official. Yeah, was not a government official. So to send a police officer to man that place, it's misuse of government resources. I don't know whether you agree with me on that. It's misuse of government resources.
So, Mr. George, let's consider that McGill or the minister was going there, so they had to deploy security there to be there while he arrived. Don't you think so? Yeah, don't you think so? Look, I want to be very frank here. Sometimes we need to look at the flip side of the coin. I think is if people deployed state security at the gravesite, I think it's wrong. They shouldn't be there because they don't work for her. She's not a government official. She's not a VIP. They shouldn't be there. But let's look at this another way. Why if they said the minister was going there to see the grave, or the president was going there, so they deploy the security forces there to mind the place while he was there? I don't know, but these are the things we need to consider.
Let me say to you, the Minister of State, the only time advanced thing will go when she is acting as acting president of the country. So anywhere he going, there will be advancing. I used to live with John G. Ramsey. He was one time Minister of State for President Affairs. So this is how it works. When you are a minister, you don't send advancing to go deploy at a grave site because you go in there. No.
So here is the deal here. Pat George, the CDC government in the habit putting their foot in their mouth. The opposition, they can put their foot in their throat as well. Who you think really on edge now? Because we just don't know what's going to happen. And there's a question of where is the outrage? Nobody is coming from the government to say, hey, this is because the elephant, the big elephant, the ball was dragged by the big elephant. So nobody can come back to question the authority of the elephant. Nobody's saying anything now. And I understand it's a sensitive thing involved there. But hey, this is he's a public. We need to set that boundary with our people. When you are a public officials, It's far different from you and myself, an ordinary private person here.
Yes.
The expectation out there, your judgment, your whatever, what comes out of you. You're like your minister. I'm saying this here. I'm not saying it as a minister of information. I'm not saying it as a minister of public. I'm saying it as myself. How do we distinguish that? That's some sort of similar thing. Why should we always find ourselves in this sort of talking point? Why?
Mr. So, regardless of who is in power in Liberia, there will be talking points. People will make these mistakes. What we should be very mindful of is how we discuss them. I think it was quite very unnerving, for the government, for what is now happening on the social media and in the public domain about this funeral.
I think consideration, even we're going to play out within the diplomatic enclave. Liberia is struggling. I appreciate the president going here and there to solicit funds, and you have somebody who, for the most part, when the president travels, is the number one person who coordinates with the vice president to run the affairs of the country. If you see this sort of video that we're seeing, the picture that is coming in here, it's being discussed all over the place in the West regions, in the Europe, Asia, to America, and other places. If they see the as the number one person, one of the number one person, or someone that is closer to the executive branch of government to do this here, do you think it has put a sort of financial dent on this government?
No, I don't think so.
You don't go back and say this is that. Don't you think they have the ability to question that?
Oh, look, I don't think so. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we are being very sensitive now to this thing. I think what has happened, it was a minister who built a house over the grave of his mother, and that what
the extra room somebody going to be staying there?
No, there's no extra room. I don't think so.
I think there's a. Okay,
no, there's not. I didn't see any of the video I saw. I didn't see any room.
This is the fence. I'm going to. This is the yard. You see the yard? They're planting the grass now. This is the grass. They're planting the grass. Let me enter. The grass. This is the what coming for the woman, how they call it. They have to bring the car. So you get here. There is one of the two. We got one here. Another two here. You got a place over there. This is the place side. This is the place. You see the ceiling. This is the ceiling. This is inside. This is the grave. This is the grave. Yeah, look there. This is it. And the heart inside, look there. Inside the grave. That's what it is. This is it. Open the grave. These are all the windows. This is it.
So there's no room there. That's it. There's no room.
The room is on the side.
You see the places will be where the woman pictures will be. The picture. You see, there's 5 different places for the pictures. So this is it. See the men's dressing, the taking the table, everything now. This is the kind of texture of the table. See how the light in there low? Okay. So the insert right here. See? There it is.
Water.
They're doing a grass. See how they're putting a grass? There's a fence. And you see the one room behind there. Behind there is the one room for the person to live in.
Okay.
Now we are.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that part. I didn't see that part. Yeah.
So we don't see
I
that.
didn't see that part.
Some of them
I think it's the security quarters, I guess.
Well, I don't know what you want to call it. I don't know what a security quarter. But you said,
look, man, look, I'm embarrassed. You know, I'm embarrassed. I am embarrassed. And look, look, in a society where people are living to standard, this shouldn't be a problem. But in our society where people survive on less than $1 a day, this is a problem. And I must apologize for this government. For this, I feel embarrassed. You know, it's one thing to have to want to celebrate the death of your relative, and it's another thing to also to rub it in the face of those who are doing it very tough in the country. I think this was very very a little bit insensitive, and we must call our government officials to order, because look, I respect that. I heard a lot of good things about this woman who has passed. They said she was a great woman who raised a lot of great guys around the world. People live with her in their numbers, and just like my mother as well, she gave hope to a lot of people, and people coming together to give her this. But on the flip side, people are doing it tough. And when people see you extravagantly,
please call back.
showering gift, I think it becomes a problem. And I understand the sentiments, because people are not, getting that daily bread. So if you are wasting daily bread, because people will consider this as waste, because the good life man how I live, I think has been brought to some sort of a scandal right now that people are discussing. I think it takes away from her, and we should as a government do better next time to make sure that we don't create such situation that we can handle.
We don't.
You act him like a more Ali, and don't put me in a situation that don't put me into a situation that I can't handle. Okay, and I think I like the fact that you admit it, but this is what a strong sedition here, Christopher Tobasi. You also support this government. You are a strong sedition.
Yeah.
He said to respect the day. Are we being disrespectful to the day here? I think we are looking at the action by not the day. We are not talking about the day. We are talking about the actions shown by this high-profile government official. We have the right to talk about it.
Yeah, we do have the right, and I respect Christopher. Christopher is a very strong sedition, and I share most of his thoughts. But for this one, I think we all, before starting our statement, pay tribute to this woman. We respect the contribution she has made. She has brought up a man who is now the second president of the
Republic. Let me go to this caller here quickly and see what this caller has to say. 301 number 2160. Caller, good afternoon. Are you there? What's your name?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. Hey, Mr. Zion, your friend from DC.
Okay. Welcome.
Yeah, I'm watching your show, it's kind of disturbing, to be frank. There's no way that we can polish this thing to justify what happened. I'm serious about it. The gentlemen that are talking about, say, they woman read a lot of people, children, and do all the kind of thing. That's not the point. What about people who sacrifice for that country, for them to have position today? I can give you an instance. My friend and brother, Jones Blamu, was deputy director of NSA. He passed in Liberia. Do you know what happened? A wife and the family that went for the funeral, I should have gone. After the funeral,
is that a WhatsApp call?
No, I don't know what.
They spent 22 days in Liberia, stay quarantined them. So when this gentleman talking about, say, the woman made sacrifice, what about a man who left his family here in the state, who had a good job, went back home in order to serve the country? A man who worked in the Dole region, and after the war, then when Soya regime came back, they called and said, you should come back and work. And that man made a sacrifice.
Okay, Jeff, hold on the line, please. Let me pick up the WhatsApp number. You're calling international. Let's get your take here quickly. Okay, let me go to this number, your WhatsApp number here. I believe calling from international. Please lower your monitor. Where are you calling from? What's your name?
Well, yeah, I'm Joseph Capo, calling from Norway.
Okay, where? Go ahead.
I'm calling from Norway.
Okay.
I say hi to Brother So and George. You know, and the George there also. You know, this thing is very embarrassing. Very, very much embarrassing. And seeing the point that a governor official, you know, Magay, is at the front stage of this thing here is very embarrassing. But now we said this woman was a mother of Liberia. In many things, she was well known. She had property, she had children. Not only Magay alone, she owned. And I respect the dead. But there's not something that will go down well for the CDC. You know, the CDC. You know, really, you know, they come up here. Very, very embarrassing. So I don't want to say.
Okay, thank you so much for your contribution. All right, let's see. Let's get people reaction here. I mean, we just want to have an honest conversation here. I mean, we are very respectful to the dead, but these are our officials. Sometimes, you know, they run ahead of their shadow here. So, yeah, 301 number to go ahead quickly, and now we'll go to Christopher and now 73.
I just want to close on this. You know, and the thing that makes it more worse is that could you believe somebody who you know, I share the grief of the minister, that's the mother, okay? But could you believe somebody who don't serve in the government for them to have a place for a security guard to guard the dead? Who paying for that? The government?
Okay, who paying for that? Hold on 1 second. Okay, maybe Christopher will answer your question. Christopher Tobasi is our regular follower, and that has edition here. Sometimes he speaks to the truth, you speak true to the power here, but sometimes they put out the garments of Benta partisan. Christopher Roti Tobazi.
Yeah, Honorable Sue.
Okay. Yeah, you are the honorable. You are the honorable here. But quickly here, is it a fair conversation that we are having?
You know, when Ellen started paying her advisor 20,000, 30,000, I was the first person to object and oppose to that. I said it was wrong. It is not fair. But some of my people from the UP at that time was celebrating. They thought it was a good thing. Today, citizens keep the power and they are paying money, ministers. I don't know how much they're paying their advisor, but they say they're paying money. It's also wrong, you know. But I want to extend my condolences to the bereaved family and stuff, you know. But for what the minister did, if it were in good time, we're going to say it's an African thing. African love to celebrate body when somebody pass. We don't send people to hospital, you know. But when times are tough like this, and the minister come out and build such a building and put security guard, I think it's a little bit, he's out of touch with the voters. It's distasteful, and I'm not going to sit here and try to play politics with this whole thing. I think the timing was wrong. And I think, I don't know how the minister will answer. I don't speak for the government, but I think in my own capacity here, I think the minister was a little bit out of touch.
So
it's distasteful.
Okay, I don't intend to put you in the oven here because it's very hard. I know where you are there. Do you feel embarrassed as a sedition, somebody who advocates strongly of this government and keep putting your foot in your mouth? Do you feel embarrassed?
I don't know if personally, I don't know how, I'm feeling terrible inside. You know, I think
commensurate with being embarrassed. Commensurate with being embarrassed, correct?
I don't know if the minister will have some.
No, not minister. I'm asking you as a sedition. Huh?
No, I think personally, I don't know, but I feel terrible inside. Looking at the whole situation, what is unfolding, I feel terrible. You know, but I don't know if I think the minister. I don't know how the minister will feel, but the minister is a constant man. It's a man with a lot of. I think he will come back to the Liberian to say something.
To apologize.
When your
okay, quickly here before I go to the next caller. Before I go to the next.
Countrymen are saying the timing is bad, it's wrong. You know, people are hungry, and you paying such a that kind of I don't know, but it's very expensive. You know, when people are seeing that kind of thing, then it's a little bit out of touch. I think it's wrong in another sense. But if times were good, like I said, you know, African love of giving the dead respect, and so
you're still giving justification. Okay, hold on. Okay,
you have to come out and say something.
What you want him to say quickly? 10 seconds before.
I want him to tell us that he made a mistake.
Okay.
You don't build a security guard holding next to dead body. We have not seen it before in Africa.
Okay.
I've not seen such a thing. I don't know if it existed or somebody has seen in Africa.
Okay.
You know, you bury your mom, which is a good thing. You know, to give a proper burial, proper respect, but to put a security guard next to it, I've never seen something like that in our Liberian community.
Okay, what we're seeing now, let me go to the next caller here quickly. The next caller here, let me go to the next person here. 973 number 6294. Caller, what's your name and where you calling from?
Hello, hi, Mr. So, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Fine. Mr. So, the whole situation is having in like, I don't know, but this is my input on the whole thing, right? I'm a mother and I'm a woman.
Right.
I have a mother. We all got mother. You can only have one mother. Nobody can replace your mother. We all know that.
No.
But there's a way I see my gift for celebrating my life. I heard a man saying she raised a lot of people, she did a lot. Okay, granted, she did all of that. But if you want to leave a legacy, the hospital she died, and we should say, well, don't you have a hospital like a second floor wing that you can fix her and dedicate it to her name and in her memory?
Right.
Instead of taking all that money and putting it there, and she bought the land to build house for her. Unfortunately, she didn't live to see the house. She's gone. She's not going to see that house no more. He can bury her mind in a respectful way, but not to spend money like that. I think what he did is very daring. He feel like nothing going to come out of it. That's what he did it for. Again, nobody trying to disrespect your mother. I'm a mother. You can never.
And that's why we're not even calling here. We're paying respect to her here. But yeah, I mean, the judgments of the individual.
That's my stepfather. But when your father married another man, hard for a mother to feed another mother pain. So no matter what these people are backing this thing, I think he did wrong. I don't know how much apology can fix this. People are taking that money, very village where your mom from, and build something there in honor of his mother.
Or maybe launch a foundation to the illness that took the old man life, you know, put a foundation.
Okay, so then why he couldn't donate to that for? You know, and bury him privately. I think what's going on in Liberia, these people stealing and nothing come out of it. That's why the people break to throw in our face. Okay? And that's what's going on. Enough is enough. That's how I feel. I don't care what Mange come and apologize. Mange didn't have that money before. If Mange leave office, can he maintain that? Can he maintain that security?
That's the key questions. That place has to be light up 24 hours. What how for that light will keep going there?
Yeah, the minister got enough money.
Let me see. I'm getting a call from Liberia here. Let me just pick up the call here quickly. Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, you all right?
Yes.
All right. This is Tommy too.
Okay.
I'm calling from Monrovia to be exact. I'm RIA right now. This topic of discussion is very fascinating and it's very good. But you see, this country, we have to do something and have to set an example. My question will be first to see if that minister or not minister of state for presidential affairs, you are going to even bury his father in that manner. People are suffering. There's no road. There's nothing doing here. The COVID. Then besides that, they broke the COVID protocol. We went to the airport today to pick up a friend of mine. They say, no, one person should enter. But yesterday, in fact, I was coming from my side. They almost ran into my car with a convoy. They almost ran in my car with a convoy. If the road is very narrow, RI road is very narrow. So if you come with what kind of situation, you have a pilot car or what kind of security car or escort car or some car to come in front and try to pass the people, but you just come abruptly and start to run into people. And what happened in this country for some of you who over there and you're just saying, or some people defend that, oh, he has to do that. That is not proper. They are using government resources to suffer the people in this country. That man has no money on his own. If you are not minister of state for presidential affairs, you're not going to do that. And the minister, please listen. The minister of state for presidential affairs is not a senior position in government. If you look at government structure, the most senior minister is the foreign minister. Then they are the finance minister. Why this man is the most powerful minister on all the administration in Liberia?
everything of this country is national market. Why?
Yeah, he got a president here.
Like got to build something like that costs thousands of dollars. You imagine you think in your own mind, you use a personal money? No. We'll stop joking around here. You're trying to say something, or let people try to understand. Thank you for the time.
Okay. There you have it. We're getting it from the people right there on ground as well. Let me come back here. And this is for the good of our country. 717 number 2909. The Libra is calling. Libra, come here. I want to see you live on video. But you can call down, the line is free. 717 number 2909. Are you there, caller?
Yeah.
Okay, what's your name and where are you calling from?
This is James Davis calling from Harris Reference.
Mr. Davis, good afternoon. My 26 on you, my man.
Yeah, we'll look for it. When you pay off, government pay off for how many more?
Go ahead.
They told us up to now, government people are not taking pay. Only the BBPO taking like 30,000 or 13,000.
Myself, I'm going to go run these representative 90 grand. Because that's Susu there, you got to be part of that Susu crowd. Yeah.
How you say going to policy it? What are the policy the other way? The policy any kind of way? They said the promise of the people they came for what? Hope for change. I don't know whether they hope for change when they do wrong, you know. Why you can be real? When they don't how they going to say live, it was a headline.
We're slashing here big time.
Yeah. It was even CDC headline. He must resign. But they forget to know that Sunday 2 a day before. Sunday 2 a day before you pass, you travel on a business class ticket. It was not headline for them. Oh, the men want to go do government work. And we even recently when Natalia Magdalene came here, they came on business class. Nobody had time to put it there. They came on business class. They didn't condemn them why they were business class, why the country is suffering, but they condemn they don't want to use their own money. But the problem is they don't.
We didn't condemn them because they don't to lie. We hear no.
Exactly. And James Davis should know that of all people.
Exactly.
But here's the problem. In the whole world, wide world, this is the first time to see such a burial.
That one I get statistics to that one. Yeah. Okay, go ahead quickly. The line bossing here before we bring other people in here, Mr. David.
Yeah. So the police director, all of them should be fired because the police director was to the funeral. Because he made the law, then he broke the law. He saw the group of people there. All the people there also. They should fire him and do something because he made the law. They arrested other people in jail. They found other funeral who? What happened to them?
Police director don't make law.
They abolish the law.
Okay.
Or what are they doing? Is that hope for change or change for who? Which one they doing?
You pick the one that you think is there. All right. Thank you, my man.
No, they're gonna say don't respect the dead. Why you gonna respect dead when they're dead? When they're dead, the person that buried the dead look for people to see some people are dead.
Okay. All right, Mr. David, thank you so much. Yeah. Okay, let me go to California, the most liberal on this network, Samson Branto. Liberal, are you there?
Yes, I am, Mr. So. Thank you for taking my call.
Okay.
The reason of me calling is this. I'm going to take a different tune on this. And those of us that love our mom, and I believe everyone that been calling here, they love their mom as well. I do not have much of an issue in Minister McGill respecting his mom, and perhaps this was something that perhaps him and his mom discussed or promised his mom. God forbid, mom, if anything happened to you, they're not brave. I will put you in the house. You know, those kinds of conversation. And then when these things happen, and you're wondering to yourself, am I going to disappoint? But what I've always stated to people, even on my show and even on the LPR platform that will always gravitate towards, is this, Mr. So. CDC and this government for some reason, they are not able to handle positive news for more than a day. If they do something good and people start praising them, next day they're going to do something and people say, what happened? This is exactly what is going on. What happened here with this decision of Minister McGill? Then you have to sit down and feel sorry for Dr. Weir, to be honest with you.
Feel sorry for what?
If you are not able, because this thing was not done in isolation. Minister McGill is now claiming that friends put money together. So that means he has been in discussion. The plan was reviewed by many people, including the president, I would think. But if the president was not able to convince Minister McGill to do this at this time, then how much more? You think how much? Then it's easy. The people been accusing Minister McGill of being the real president. Then I think this is it. Because when Tuckney was buried over there on whatever street it is, Ashmore Street or whatever street it was, he was buried over there. I was little back in 1971. I went to the gravesite. I was there when he was being buried. And they put the light on. It was not even like this. It was not even like this. Why? There was no election. Nobody in charge except for the two-week party. And the two-week party members themselves were able to benefit from Tuckney rule for years and years. And when he died, they did not even give him these kinds of honor. I respect Minister McGill, but what he has done, not only bringing ridicule to the office of the president, but also bringing ridicule to the old man. And I know when they say somebody raped, I was raised by Madam Bertha Baker example, a Congo woman. But she took me just like a own son. My brother over there right now, he used the thing with twins. The only person that used to suffer, that used to tell me was the father. He said, yeah, I'm countryman, you will never accept me as government. But which was fine at that time. But the point that I'm making, if people are saying this woman raised people, if there's a woman to say, I'm raising somebody else's child, for the child to be good, that person have a clean heart.
Okay.
That person, and then for us to come now and talk about this woman, I've been listening to you guys all day. People are calling it angry. This is the ridicule that Minister McGill will be punished for doing this to his own man. Will be punished. Because why? Those of us that like our man, you don't want your man need to be dragged in the mud like this. Because what? 5 cents biscuit, 2 cents biscuit, because you reach out, you can do anything. This is unacceptable. Those of us that love our man, this is very painful. And I'm feeling painful for the old man this afternoon. And that's why I'm not even going to discuss it on my show. I'm not going to touch it. Thank you very much.
Why will you not want to touch it?
Mr. So this is not a subject matter for discussion. Finish.
No, it's not her. We are discussing, we are talking about public officials.
If Nigerian feel Minister McGill use their money to bury, let them take it to court. Leave the old man. Leave the whole issue alone. This is not something.
No, you can't say that.
If you feel Minister McGill use your money to bury his man, and you feel it's illegal, take him to court. You leave the old man alone. He sounds like mother for all of us.
There you go, the liberal. There you go. Thank you so much, liberal.
Liberal will always have his position, and we respect that.
Becoming a pressure go. I'm unable to fly to California right now. That's a long journey. Okay, so go take your pressure medicine right now. 612 number 3168. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, go ahead quickly, and I'll count to 267 number. Yeah, go ahead. 612.
Yeah, so I think the progressive have said it all. That is just why I almost wanted to say. But to add to what the progressive had just said, you know, the president could have given money to bury him. The man is the minister of state, all right? The man worked directly with the president. Besides that, I think this is the work of journalists to highlight issues in society so that the people can tell. The journalists got to make money. But the issue here
do you think a worth have been highlighted, or just only the money aspect?
Well, I don't think this is an issue that Liberian people should focus on. I think the Liberian people should have been focusing on those people that never got paid.
Okay. So then, it says here, my dear brother and friend, there's a correlation here. What is coming, if it were you or me, or another person like me or you, do you think we're going to talk this thing here? And I started up here. This is what here, my late old man here, 2015. That's me right here. Whoever talk about it? Let me see here. I'm sitting now over here on a tone with there. Who talks about it? But when you are in a high profile position and you are a decision or policy maker, then people are going to look at you. People want to see what you are. Don't you think it makes sense? We're not attacking the old man. We are talking about some of the decision-making processes of our national leaders, the impact, the toll it takes on the country.
It does, Mr. So I agree that the man is a big man. Obviously, when he spent money at such a time like this to bury his mother, it will create concern. It becomes a news because the men are big men, obviously. But is there a news that we should be castigating him and saying that, oh, he shouldn't have done it? In my mind, if it was me, I was going to do the same thing for my mother. Okay. Is there anybody straight up? Why? Because first of all, we can't prove that whether Margaret have money or not.
No.
Right? Because we don't know Margaret's net worth. All right. I think that is where the argument should be. Can Margaret afford to bury his man in this manner?
Okay, so then here is the thing here. Then the talking point one will compel him, or the talking point will make it say, hey, let me make a 4 declarations of donors, how this thing came about. I'm not looking at the monetary value, but I'm looking at the decision-making process as national leaders. Also bear in mind, Minister Margaret literally is one of the presidents. When the president leaves the country, he proxy the affairs in close consultation with the vice president of the Republic of Liberia. Am I correct?
Conflicts of interest, business people.
Yeah. So is it wise for us to question their judgment? Because if they can be making some, what I claim, I could be wrong, be making these sort of judgments or making this sort of decision, then I think this is how they also make decisions in government that affects you and myself and the country as a whole. All right, my man. Thank you so much.
Well, anyway, yeah, can I just say that before I go?
Yeah, quickly.
I think Quentin B. burial was almost like that, and he was supported by the Benin Yuri and all of that. Tony Byron burial almost was almost the same, you know. So this guy buried his mother, and unfortunately, it was the time that she died.
Okay.
Some people are looking at it from a different perspective, but I think we should move on from that level. I think the opposition is just trying to make the government to look ugly so that the people can lash at them, because this government is not giving professional enough to handle the media properly. That is the reason why today they don't got elected, because they don't know how to handle propaganda.
Yeah.
Do you understand me?
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. 100% agree with you that. Okay, thank you so much, man. Okay, let me go to the next person here. Please bear with me. So we want everybody to be heard. 267 number 5983. Caller, good afternoon. What's your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, Loli, how you doing? This is Bud Dino.
Hey, how are you, my man?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me say my deepest sympathy to the minister for his mother issues.
Yeah, after this, I'll be coming to you guys before we wrap up.
This is a disgrace to the woman in the grave. I was 16, turning 17 when my mother died, and I'm trying still to see what kind of graveside that I have to do for my mother. All of us love our mother. When Darius DeLong flew and paid his own money, came in this country to lobby for Maserati and Liberia in general, Margaret then paid people to mock at Darius DeLong.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by Margaret pay people?
I said Margaret then paid people.
Who they pay?
Darius DeLong.
How?
With no politics.
No, now we don't have secret here. Listen, now we call out Darius DeLong here. It was done wrongly.
Hold on, Lodi. Hold on, Lodi. Lodi, hold on. They got to front page. They checked Darius DeLong activity from Liberia to Ghana, from Ghana to America.
Oh God!
It was in news for I don't know how many days.
That's lie.
Weeks. And he stayed in
That's a lie.
what have the seditions done with the whole thing? They sat down there, third man that led us for 27 unbroken years. He was not buried, like Margaret's mother. Liberians are saying all the time, the government stole 25 million, 16 billion, or whatsoever we might call it all the time. Don't you think it raised a red flag for a minister of a country? Where did he get the money from? And in our constitution, even if you are government official, you cannot accept about $250, as my judge said. And all of us are aware of it. So why is it today?
Okay,
why
well,
will my guest say?
Yeah, but let me also point. Yeah, let me also.
Mother, all of us have mother. I used to have mother, but my wife now is my mom. Even if I'm in government, will I bury any of my relatives that way in this kind of a situation, in this kind of a pandemic, in this kind of way Liberians are suffering? George, Mia, and Maggie brought this to themselves, not to any other person.
No.
If I were Maggie, let me conclude by saying, if I were Maggie, I would bury my mom. I would do something after all of the pandemic. Even if it takes 2-3 years, I will go and put something decent and tell my mom, I promise to bury you. But the way in which I promise to bury you, Liberia will honor certain conditions, but I am here to beautify your grave.
All right.
I tell you, thank you for bringing me on the earth. But he didn't do it. He did it another way. Third man, never bury like that. Those that have billions of dollars, the Congo people, the 2-week party. Third man was not buried like that. The poor boy yesterday. This is the reason why when people leave government in Liberia, they become. I'm so sorry.
Okay, let me go to the next person.
Justice minister that die on the street.
Okay, my man. Let me go to the next person here. All right, thank you so much. Okay, but let me also point out here. Let me let this 301. Do you have any other thing to say before I go to Christopher?
Yeah. Okay. I just want to close on there and thank you for giving me a chance to talk. You know, what people I want for the Liberian people to listen to what we're talking about. For me, I'm not condemning Minister Magé to buy golden casket for his mother. I'm not saying that what he did was wrong. But the timing, I'm looking at the timing. You look at the situation, look at the country. There are people today who are in the state, who parents, who loved one died, they can't go home. And the government has already put a man say that a burial, it should be 20. But look at what happened with more than 20 people who were at the place. So you look at the timing. At the timing I'm looking at, people are not taking pay. The legislature body, they're getting 15,000, 30,000. So you look at the timing, what kind of image that creates? You see, when you're talking about protecting the interests of the government, there are things that government officials should do in public that will bring what? Honor to the government. Say, oh yeah, you can't say you're a minister or say you director of police, or let's say you lieutenant in the police. Then you go in the bar, you drunk, then later in the street. You know what people will say? They look at the police for the useless. So there are certain things that create, bad image on the public.
All right. Okay.
These are the things that government is supposed to stop. They're supposed to have people who are supposed to advise them. If I was in that shoe, I was going to advise Minister Magé, say, look, Minister Magé, I share your pain, but look at the situation in the country. People are going hungry, they're not eating. And this time you talk about, internet. Anybody can take a phone and then do what? And do everything.
Yeah, so but camera people are there, so that it was people didn't sneak there, they were recording.
People, then they do commentary. Oh yeah, they play for the where they're going to bury the man. Look at the light. Some people, they don't even have lighting in their house. Then you talking about grave. The guy electricity there. What kind of image they create? That's what we're talking about. We don't hate the government. But when we say these things, it's because we love our country and we want the government to do better. That's all. So thank you, Mr. So.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, Chris, you got something to say before we're going to be wrapping up?
So, in closing, one of the reasons you see sometimes citizens can start decaying is when we try to politicize the issue before us. All right, some of us came on here, and I want to say thank you to the people in studio there with you. You know, and we came on here and we say that the minister is out of touch. The timing is wrong. You know, that some of it will do it the other way around. You know, but when you have other people coming here and try to compare the situation with Darrell Dillon and blah blah blah, then they're trying to politicize it. Then we are trying to say, oh, Mr. Minister, you have to come to make some clarification. You got to come and say something. Why did you do this? You know, then when we get in our defensive move, because look, why man get there is by traditional demand, African traditional mandate. What he did is an African way. It is an African way. If this time was normal time, if it was normal day, the team was relaxed, and people working and there's bundle of job, you know, or jobs in the country, if there's no pandemic or whatever, these are some of the things rich people in Africa do. Politicians in Africa bury their money in a way that you would think, why you spend 100,000 on your mother grave or your father grave? But these are some of the things people do. Go to Ghana, go to Africa, go to Nigeria. This is how they bury people in Africa. This is our tradition. But we're saying here that the minister is wrong, the timing is wrong, it is distasteful. What he did, he shouldn't have done this. It's wrong. We still saying it. Even my brother, we got in studio, he said it's wrong. You know, but he said we all have mother. If we all love our mother. And if the minister step out of line and he step out of line, and we are there trying to say, Mr. Minister, we you know, this is our government, but you shouldn't went too far.
Okay.
You know, don't do that.
All right.
Yeah.
Another one here is like a hot arrow in your eye. I know that very Christopher Tobasi talking like they here, like somebody eating a arrow here. Guys, are you there?
We are.
Okay, to bring you to board didn't Dodi call here. I think he made a statement that is incorrect. You see, this is the frustration with some of us. And I found it very difficult to deal with the liberal and all of those people. They're in the habit of always reconstructing and try to fix things that needs to be fixed. Why you want to blame Nathaniel McGee about Darrell Dillon? Who used that's the dishonesty of these people here that support the very opposition. People that support the opposition, they're all doing the same thing. So I hate this sort of unnecessary blame game. It wasn't Nathaniel McGee that took Darrell Dillon in the first class there and go take picture. Let me put it obvious so you will see it. maybe what it needs maybe McGee was on this picture here. Is that McGee walking there with a yellow or orange something? What with the other L on there? Okay, no, I don't. So I'm not sure. So let me see this other person. McGee, is he bleaching now? He's the one in the white, that white man there? No. Why will you come here to tell us is Nathaniel McGee and did this and do front page? He went ahead with front page. He posted the information and they decided to go further to check. And that's what was slamming here. And they came here, they defended him because Darrell Dillon said the people who pay the money. These are the careless mistakes and careless decisions of our national leader. Because I don't give you money, so they don't even give accountability. They didn't give it. So why do you have to lie? That's your own money. You can upgrade. Fine, nothing wrong with that. People pay, buy your ticket. But all of these things, this is a kind of unbalanced people that we have. And I think it's unfair for you to come and make that kind of statement that was McGee and did that and went to the front page. That's you there wrong on it.
Yes.
Widow, you want to?
Yeah. I wanted to say something quickly before Pat George comes in. Look, I see people talking about even the man own money, even the minister own money. I disagree. If people are living in this country, they are so poor that they cannot even find food to eat. And then taxpayer money is given to you. And then you go and ride maybe first class. To me, that is an abuse to put the public office that you hold. Because if we cannot serve our people to live a life that is worth living, and you alone take all that money home, it's corruption in itself. I think it's about time that we look at even the money we gave these people. It's taxpayer money. So you don't say it's my own money. The loan does not have its own money. The only money he had was $3.50. Any money he has now is taxpayer money. Yes, it's taxpayer money. Even the money Minister McGill has is taxpayer money. You have to use it being very sensitive to the people that you serve.
Well, let me ask you here before Pat George comes. Do you think you're going to be a wise? Do you think the minister they're going to come forward to address this situation at some point in time? You think so? Or will you advise?
I think. Look, it is about time. This time is about hard time that the minister. I don't think he's going to come up now. I think he's mooning. I think, but when the appropriate time comes, we will want him to come to apologize to the Liberian people, because I think this move, while it was a celebration of his mother, and we all understand because we all have those people in our corner. They always pray for us. They always do everything to make sure that we succeed. As I speak here, my mother is praying somewhere for me. We understand that, but if people are suffering and you do this, I think it's very insensitive to their plight. And I think the minister will at some point come up and speak to this matter to put it to rest. I think an apology is needed to Liberian people, because whatever way you put it, this was taxpayers' money.
Ooh.
Yes, it's taxpayers' money. And because that's why I always disagree with the fact that a public official will say, I use my own money to change my flight to make it to first class than my money. That's not your money. If that money is too much for you, you cannot fly in economy and in the same plane to go give it to the people who's supposed to use it and have food for the children to eat in the houses that you lead.
George.
Yeah.
This guy is trying to change the narrative now, right?
Well, maybe he's seeing something. He see right on the wall now that somehow we're not just going accusing me. But let me say to these people, every time when I come to this mother issue, I try to drag my voice a little bit. Because I had two mothers. My biological mother was very poor, and the woman that adopted me. My biological, the one adopted me, that I was Mrs. Ramsey. Very loving woman. I always say this to anybody.
I see why you can. Mm-hmm.
Those people took me like that woman took me like a biological son. And today, if anybody call her name, I will stand up. So I feel I know how it looked like when you lost the kind of people. But then, look around, you got to be careful what you do. So that's why since we came here, nobody had said anything evil about Nathaniel McGill's mother. We all have been saying we're sorry for her because what the son had done to her. But let me just say to the Dodi, stop distorting the fight. Dudu was on this program, front page. It was the picture, the ticket that Dion put out. That front page took to go do the research and called data to confirm it. So if Nathaniel get paid front page, please bring that document to us so we can see it, so we can flag it up. But to come here and make the kind of statement is wrong. And for me on this level, I will not condone it. I will call you flat or lie until you can bring that document to show that Nathaniel Market pay front page or CDC pay front page to go after Dillon. Bring that document, I'll see. But other than that, I will flag it, say that you are aligned. That's for me. We don't want to go down that route. And let me just close on the note. What we're seeing here is that Minister Mange will not come out to say anything, but I know any press conference that he will be holding, they will question him about it. And this is some of the things we're talking about. The embarrassment you are caused to your beloved mother. Because any press conference Mr. Mange called, I will be the first person to pop up. And this will be embarrassing. This woman supposed to be resting in peace. Look at how you are playing this thing to the public. So for me, I just say, look, I hope. But CDC cannot learn a lesson. These clubs will people for the campaign come and we don't have to continue to defend it. Because this club will be played during the campaign, so we don't get answer to it. If they are not abusing the worth of the people, the same people that they said they were poor, they were coming to represent. Yeah, today now they are living luxurious life beyond imagination. We don't 2023 will answer this question.
So, okay, Mr. So, and I just want to reply to Mr. George. And here's where I stand. If what this government has done for the ordinary people, if it's little compared to that one room house that has been built for the late man Water, then of course don't vote for us. Don't vote for this government. But if you feel and know that the government has done a lot more, built more of those houses in Grand Jide, in Grand Cru, in Nimba, in all these places, in Popo Beach, if you know that the government have built similar houses for people who did not have in their wildest dream of having a concrete building as their own, vote for this government. And I know come 2023, President George Manning Weah will be elected again, and we will all celebrate him. And I know things will continue to improve for this country. Our living standard will improve under this president because he is a son of a market woman.
How many jobs
that I am as well?
How many jobs you have created in the private sector? The regular market, you're saying a modern market. Look at the water there. The very people that voted for you.
Let us not make sense, Gary, here. Folks, we're going to leave it here. Get ready. The Liberal is coming on this evening here. Guys, I want to thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And let's make it crystal clear here. For those who given a misinterpretation, that's not the point of discussion here. We are holding our national leaders accountable of their decision-making process. We are not saying he does not have money. I don't have anything to prove that, but we are holding their decision-making process. That's what we are holding accountable. And to where is the outrage? When the government does it wrong, we must say it. When the opposition does it wrong, we must say it. And we want those people that it's okay to support, align with any group. But in that process, you must be helpful. And part of being helpful there is to make sure your institutions is strong. You don't just, not because you're supporting somebody when they're even doing it wrong, you don't have the guts to tell them and say, no, we are going in the wrong direction. That has been the tradition. That is the tradition with both sides. It's not just only with the CDC. You heard what a man saying here. He want to blame Nathaniel McGee of front page. He went on front page, and front page decided to go much deeper to get the facts out.
He sorted the people in defense of his life.
It's something we hope the lesson going to be learned here. With all of these here are good justifications for economic crime code because national resources, in my own word, people feel that it's not being properly managed. That is a challenge, and that's what I want to see the next government coming here. Whether they are having that conversation now, whether there will be more reasons for which any new government, whoever there, whether the government will be audited, and in fact, the economic crime code, whether is necessary. More reasons, more points, more argument every day on a daily basis adding up. Gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for your time this Friday afternoon. Let's see, I won't be surprised. What do you think going to pop up again next week?
Look, we'll always have things to talk about. The government and the opposition will continue to give us.
They're living in the Trump war, right?
Yeah. There will always be things to talk about.
When he there, he always create. He knows also to drive the media into his narrative. As soon as he send one tweet, then everybody go helter crazy. All the cable wire inflamed to discuss.
Mr. So, I've been on a plane and flying throughout this weekend. Next weekend is going to be the same. I don't know whether we have discussed the Supreme Court verdict in the Samukai situation. Have we done that or not?
No, I think we have to. Yeah, we have to find time to do it.
It's so messy. This week they order the court again.
We'll try to do that on Sunday, but we are now. Other people putting their foot in their throat, so we don't want them to get choked.
Yeah, the documents of Samuka, I know what I'm a man today. I was just reason I went to print the Supreme Court ruling.
Oh, nice.
I feel that. I think this whole thing, that's the end of his political career.
It is. It is over. It's over.
With this one here, it's really damaging. I don't know what else. So probably, is my guess. This is what I think they're going to happen ultimately at the end of this tunnel here. I might guess there will be an intervention by the government or the president, because the president cannot intervene when there is no court case. Now, the president can come with executive branch in executive clemency, maybe to reconcile with the Lothians, because the Lothians' vote is going to be crucial. They feel alienated, they feel being thrown out of the whole system. So now the president can come in, the government can come in to say, okay, we wanted this thing to play out by itself. 9 years play out. Now we know whatever money that was used, it was under the supervision or directed by the former president of the Republic of Liberia. So the government going to take responsibility. That would be a good, clever political maneuvering on the part of CDC. But will they do that? Will they be able to have that?
No.
Even if they did, would that crime be dropped against him?
No, so the person can only get clemency when there has been a decision render finding him guilty. Right now they are going by the court.
That's what I'm saying. I said,
the first ruling of the Supreme Court is abhorrent. As far as concerned, Brother Samaga is a criminal. He's a convicted criminal. So the president can pardon him, but the criminality will not be removed from his name.
So I don't know why his political career, Helen just screwed him up. Then the West in the system, they even went for 2 instead of them calling for the jury system. The system they went for 2. I don't know who the lawyers are. They didn't advise them. That could have been the force strategy of the opposition when they were even going there. But everybody were crying their own cry, doing their own thing. Guys, I want to thank you so much. Let's break it. Thank you, Mr. We're sorry to wake you up, but you know, when it requires to wake you up, we'll always do that to make it fair.
It's okay. It's okay. I'll go back to bed now. It's 6:42 here a.m. So I gotta go back to bed. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate the show and everyone listening.
Your child will become from CDC, so don't worry.
All right. Okay, we're gonna let it go. We're gonna let it go. Folks, I want to thank you so much. I'm Alfonso Z and sort of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR TV. We're gonna let it go, but we have to discuss it. And everybody must be checkmated. Whether you're on the opposition, you're in the government, it's about the country. The decision of these people, we have to put them to test. We can't be doing them. We'll come tomorrow again. Another group come, they start doing the same thing. Then they will come tell us, as usual, the time Mr. A did it, where you say that now you want to talk?
Go, 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 go. Oh, let it go. I'm tired, let it go. Give your heart to Jesus. Let it take control. Just sit and watch it.
I think God, Jesus said, tired now. He not take control and the people dashing their soul. And I'm not going to get on my knee to pray because on my knee, all pain and I got to be injecting it. So these people, they are all grown up. They have to use their head. Come on.
Your wife is getting married to another man. Your husband are falling in love with another woman. Don't let it bother you. I say let it go.
I beg you, yeah.
Someone overlook you because you live easy round. If they insult you because
I want to thank you so much, John, the liberal progressive Samson Bloku Brown told this evening. Conversation with Samson told he's going to be here with the Friday edition conversation with Samson told. I won't be sitting here tomorrow as usual, Saturday Crossfire, and that's why we'll try to fill in here this afternoon.
Be a beggar. You will not marry. You will not build your own children. If you say your need is borrow. Some they go to meeting. Mommy can say no, Johnny, ginger. Just let it go. Jesus will change your story. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go.
You know, we've been making a lot of follow-up here. It's all sort of crazy things in circulation on the social media. That's on a picture. There's a picture, a video of a lady claiming from the office of the First Lady. I managed to contact the office of the First Lady, the spokesperson to the First Lady, and to also surprise that they have no idea. Like, so you don't even monitor what is happening around you? Somebody's video going viral claiming from the office of the First Lady, and you as a spokesperson, you up to this point in time almost how many hours now that video being in circulation? Wow. Your communication is terrible. It's terrible. It's terrible. Well, folks, I want to thank you so much for your time, for your afternoon here. We'll always be having these sort of conversations. They will be consequential, but you know, we will do the best we can to make sure that we have these sort of conversations so that people will know exactly what's going on. That's what we do here. That's what we represent here at Liberia Public Radio. Until then, folks, by God's willing, same time, same station, we'll be back here with more programming, news, and information for us to all will be talking to Liberia. Again, the purpose of this discussion here to know where is the outrage. Where is the outrage? We want who all of these people accountable. Can be given to unnecessary justifications of your people wrongdoing, because then we are not even doing it. Then we are not honest to the country. We have to hold these people accountable, because we don't do it now. We don't even know the next group are coming. They will end up doing the same thing, and then when we go talk, they say, "Well, it happened at the time you didn't talk. Why you want to talk now?" So there's sort of a pattern, consistent pattern of things happening and people coming to say, "Oh, it happened because of this." I think it's unfair to Liberia. I think it's unfair for the good of our country. Until then, I want to thank you so much, Chris Tobasit, your participation, Jake, Marie, and all of those following us here, the Libra as well, Paul, Joseph Paul, thank you so much, and all of you beautiful people, as usual, to your time, to Marion, and all of you folks for your time. Let's pray for Mama Liberia one of these days, and let us pray for people who have the country at heart, and more or less people who have the fear of God. I'm doing this even though man is not seeing me, I'm in the darkness, but God is watching over me. People, not fear God. If you're doing these things, then go put your hands up and go sing hallelujah. I wish some sort of rotten or something from the heaven and those fingers and just kept them off, because you are making Margaret out of God. Until then, I'm Alfonso Z, and so have a pleasant Liberia. We'll wish the motherland happy pre-independence anniversary. Monday, that will be the 26th. It's going to be July 26th. That will be the independent days of the Republic. That's 174 as a sovereign nation. But see where we are. I think people who want to have demonstrations, whatever it is, I think the protest for the reduction to revisit the Constitution or to call for a referendum, those people giving these people 9 years, giving the executive 6 years, we need to cut them. We need to revisit that. That's some of the things that are killing us. You put them there, they're there for the life of the law, 9 years. None of them want to resign, representative. No president want to resign unless they die. We don't want our people to die. So when they do it, they're going to have lawyer. They have the law in their favor. So we need to. I think that's an important aspect we need to look at. Until then, have a pleasant Friday afternoon. Please stay safe. The virus is still out there. Okay. We beg you. Please stay safe.